And we are live.
Live?
Hello. Welcome to Breaking Down Bitcoin, episode 1. So I am Rob, and this is
Coin Guy
Brian
Bry.
and Coin Guy Bry.
Yeah.
And basically, we're starting this channel, Breaking Down Bitcoin, to learn, Bitcoin development ourselves, and also try to teach each other as we go. We're not going to try to fool anyone. We don't really know anything, and we're going to figure it out as we go.
I mean, there's only a couple people that know a lot.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
So,
Exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of use the Mastering Bitcoin book as a guide or an outline for these episodes. We're going to read some of the chapters and try to digest it. And if I shut up, you'll be able to see it. Yeah, because you're going to be in the little thumbnail.
Oh, wait, wait.
Go ahead and show it.
I got to talk so cameraman will show my screen, right? Here's the book, second edition.
I will switch the camera to you. There you go. Go ahead.
Oh, wait. Woo! I can't get my live, my feed running over here. Here's the book.
That's okay.
I think I already showed it enough.
All right. So basically what we're going to do is get into what the book has covered so far and just kind of briefly touch on it. I don't think we're going to cover what Bitcoin is or if you
want to know what Bitcoin is, you're at the wrong channel. We're obsessed with it, and
Yes.
so we decided to dissect it and see how it ticks, so we can hack it and take all the. But I know, yes, this is gonna be probably pretty technical. I say pretty technical talk. If we if we're that smart, we'll see.
yeah, exactly. We'll see how smart we are when we get to chapter 4.
These guys think they're technical.
yeah. We're not going to pretend. So if you think we say anything stupid or we're wrong, go ahead and let us know, because we're just trying to learn this as we go and share the knowledge to help others as well.
Yeah, and we're not.
So I guess we can
price, and we're not going to be clickbait to get ICO. I mean, we'll talk. I mean, we're talking about the technicalities, economics. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there for that. So
exactly. So we're just going to talk about what interests us and what we what we've learned and the resources that we use to learn them. I think what we want to kind of start off, since it's our first episode, is a brief introduction to how we got into crypto and Bitcoin. So how did you start binging on Bitcoin, or when?
How did I fall into the rabbit hole? I'd say it was March last year, 2016. I've always been spare time. Like, I have no friends. I would just read about math. I like math, So I got this little book right here. I think it's. I think actually this might have helped it. This little book of mathematical principles. This is my free time stuff.
Nice.
Kind of led me into RSA. Like, how does encryption work? Blah blah blah. Kind of tried to understand some of the math behind it, then kind of stumbled upon Bitcoin. I think it was on a Udemy or Coursera channel. I was like, what? Understand a real comprehensive. What is this thing? Started it, read the white paper, bought some on Coinbase, and I've just my attention is just totally 95% of my time. That's all I care about is, I can't, my wife wants me to stop.
You lost your job, you lost your family.
Lost my job, lost my family. I moved, I had to get away because it sucked me in. So that's the rest of 3,000-mile view. So, but What about you?
Yeah. And yeah, it's similar. It wasn't as long ago. I honestly, it was only about May of this year that I really started getting into learning about crypto, mainly Ethereum to start with. I always knew about Bitcoin for years, but I didn't really look into it. Honestly, when I first started investigating a couple years ago, I thought it was over my head, and it probably was at that time. But this year, the Ethereum boom, price boom, really drove my attention to it, because I started mining it with my one video card and started making $20 every couple of days and thought it was pretty sweet. And then I soon turned my attention on other crypto and Bitcoin as well, and just started learning about how it works and the technical underlyings of it as a developer or as someone that wants to be a developer. I was attracted to, how it actually works under the hood. So that's basically why, I'm here now.
I'm always asked. Yeah, I think you're on the same. We like the how and the why.
Yes.
That's the most important part. So it's why does that work? Why does that work? How does that work?
Exactly.
When you learn something like that instead of memorize it, you can easily master a subject.
Exactly. We have engineering minds and both come from, engineering backgrounds. So now, so also, the reason why we're basically starting this video is also we both attended the Jimmy Song's programming blockchain seminar a couple weeks ago in Austin, and he blew our minds and really made this even more realistic to us. We realized wow.
Programmingblockchain.com. If you guys can afford, it was expensive, but I thought this thing, it's gonna pay off for what it was worth. Meeting you and meeting other people and getting diving deep down with it. Jimmy's been in the scene for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's really good course, but I think he's going to programmingblockchain.com. I think he's going to California next.
Somewhere in California, a couple places in California, and then Korea or South Korea.
Then we'll get him on the show. I think he said if we get some episodes down. So
if we get like 10 episodes down, he said he'll be on it. So
we'll get him on breaking down Bitcoin. So
I think we'll just do 10 episodes just to get him on, and then we'll quit.
yeah.
And then so anyways, I think we'll get started here. We don't want to go too long here, but honestly we have no idea how long this is going to go. We're just going to try to cover what we put down on this outline and see what where it goes from there. So basically chapter 1 and 2 of Mastering Bitcoin covers what is Bitcoin, the history and its uses. So as we know, Bitcoin's a cryptocurrency. And what do you want to say about, Brian? What do you think of Bitcoin?
What is Bitcoin, man? Assuming you guys know what Bitcoin is, I mean, it's just is there like a good one sentence like what is Bitcoin? Open, distributed ledger. I saw it as the most perfect, kind of like there's no system's perfect, but like this was like the closest thing to an actual perfect system. Uses instead of relying on politics, you're relying on math, which is like you can't disprove 2 + 2 is not equal to 4. So there's things that just work in cryptology and these magical properties that allow these features of what Bitcoin is. So you can have a decentralized money economy and system. So it's very fascinating. So
yes, it is definitely, and it also can make you. It can make you rich potentially. So if you use it right, which is also another attraction.
I was like kind of inspired because now potentially if you get these on feature phones, like there's more people in the world that have access to phones than clean water. So think about all these people in Africa that they unbanked, they do bartering and they trade. They have not Estonia, Ethiopia. I can't remember. Ethiopia. Yeah, they do. I mean, they're doing it with whatever it's minutes, phone minutes, but they made their own currency out of that. And
yep.
Their credits of some sort. It's a humanitarian kind of aspect too. You can get rich and you can help the world. Change the world. So that's what I was really kind of like. I feel like what I'm doing is like gonna help the world too. So, but anyway.
No, for sure, and I completely agree. Now, its history is covered in chapter 1 as well, which really, I mean, we're not going to go deep into, but it's started in 2009 with Satoshi Nakamoto launching it.
Right after the collapse. So.
Yep, exactly. So a lot of hunger for something like that after the financial collapse.
I actually almost just finished digital. What was the book we just read?
Digital Gold. Yeah.
Digital Gold. That's a good read if you want like the whole kind of.
Oh yeah.
The whole kind of where it came from, who was involved, like Roger Ver and then Hal and
Yes.
all these guys that kind of
Yeah, if you want a non-technical history of it, I think it's a perfect, book. It's actually a great, great read. Well, also available on Audible, and that's how I listen to
That's
it.
the only
And
way I read.
yeah, exactly. I don't have the time to read, but I have definitely the time to listen to it in the car with all the traffic I have here. And also its uses, which, obviously, I mean, it's used, as a currency. It can be used for transactions. You can use as a store value, you know, and many other things can be, made out of it.
Yep. Oh, I should be cuss. I can cuss whatever.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
This is our first. Yeah, this is our first time. Guy, don't like. I don't care.
Yeah, whatever. We're just winging it.
But anyways, so I guess chapter 1, just gets, assume you kind of understand what the chapter 1's all about.
Yeah.
And where can they get this book? Isn't it on GitHub and it's on?
Yeah, there's a public version on GitHub that you can get, the open source version of it, but it's not actually a PDF or an EPUB. There are multiple languages of it available. I believe it's bitcoinbook.com, or you can just Google Bitcoin book or mastering Bitcoin. You'll find it. And you can also just buy it on Amazon and all that, or get the EPUB version if you want to compile it from GitHub, which there are tools available that will allow you to do that, since it is open source.
Yeah, I guess just to reiterate, we're gonna try the structure of this whole channel. We're gonna try to kind of digest each chapter. We're gonna breaking down Bitcoin. This book. So hopefully we'll do it. Maybe I think this first episode we'll try to do the first 3 chapters. Since they're kind of introductory. But so you can kind of read along, and then we're gonna have our thoughts on every episode on each chapter. That's the plan. So
yeah, and then also work through some examples. If there are coding examples or command line examples, anything that we can show you in real world, we will try and do. We have some for chapter 3, some command line examples and some Python code examples on how to interact with Bitcoin and the blockchain.
I guess just to state, you don't need to be a developer or
no.
Just to do what we're going to show. I mean, I've just started to learn about half a year ago, and this stuff you can pick it up. If you got half a cent, if you're a millennial, you go this.
Exactly. Yeah. So learning the concepts of it is really what we're trying to get across, but at the same time, some programming as well. And I can try to teach as much as I can with the programming experience I have, without going too far into it and making everyone's eyes glaze over if you're not a programmer. But if you are a programmer, and if you have anything to contribute to these, feel free to reach out and let us know, because sure we could
get you in a hangout. It'd be part of one of our episodes.
Exactly.
We're a decentralized channel. We'll figure that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then chapter 2 covers, how Bitcoin works, a brief overview of transactions and blockchain, how to construct a transaction with the various inputs and outputs, the input being, the previous transaction, the previous, what's called value of Bitcoin coming in, and then the outputs being what you're sending to the other person or other wallet, and then the change that you receive. And then it also covers mining.
I don't know if you want to. I mean, it was a pretty good chapter. I sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's good. Go ahead. Go for it.
There's some good talking points on chapter 2 about. I guess if you don't know the basics of the blockchain, about how it's every transaction is linked, it's grouped together and linked to the last one, so it makes a unbreakable chain that once breakable, you just it won't get verified by the system if you change it.
Exactly.
But it does talk about the essentials of a transaction where. You're always going to get a change. I learned about the change. When you do a transaction, if you look on the block explorer, you'll see it go out to 2 outputs.
Yep.
Right. I'm like, well, I didn't only send money to one person. What's going on here?
Yeah.
But you'll see that other output is a new address from an HD wallet. I got to figure out how that works. How it knows about that address. But
yeah, I think we're going to be getting into that in chapter 5. There's a wallets chapter.
BIP 32, BIP 39. But
Yep,
yeah,
that
so
won't go into
that's
that.
where your address, it just comes right back to you. It's like kind of like breaking change. I give you a $10 bill.
Yep.
That's a good analogy. But yeah, so it gives you back the change. But yeah, I'll let you keep going.
No, it's cool. No, that's perfect. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information that we can cover on how blocks are linked to one another, and I think we'll kind of be touching on that naturally as we go through some of these chapters. And we can also do some screen shares, which we will do to kind of show what we're talking about here. I can do like a quick.
Yeah, you had a good. Didn't you have a good?
Yep, I have a diagram that I'm trying to share, which I guess I'll just share my whole screen here. So you're going to see some picture-in-picture. Going to minimize that, and if you can see this here, you'll see a diagram that I created, just the blocks. These are kind of not 100% accurate, but this kind of gives you an idea. If you were to have one block here, the input of that block is the previous block hash. There's a list of transactions. Can be one, can be hundreds or thousands, and then the current block hash is then created as one of the inputs of the next block, and then so on and so forth. And you can see this is what creates the blockchain, is that the previous block hash is the beginning of the next block.
And
then,
real quick, a hash. I guess I'll try to explain it. A hash. It's the same thing. It's a function. So you give it whatever, you input a whole bunch of information, a data file, Library of Congress, the word hello, whatever, and it spits out a fixed length, well, SHA-256, a number of bits, which is deterministic. You can repeat it every time. It'll always give you this fingerprint, this signature, and so it's kind of like a digest of the information and spits it out. So
exactly,
you're able to have like this other form of proof that there's really but think of it as a signature, as a digest of some information. If I tell you to put hey hello into this function, you're going to get the same thing as I get. But yeah, so it takes that whole block of information, runs it through that function, which is SHA-256, the hashing function, spits out this ID, this signature, this digest of whatever that was, and that gets feeded into the next one. So that's the aspect of the chain.
Exactly. So every block has the fingerprint, if you will, of the previous block, and so on and so forth. So that way, if any of those fingerprints were changed previous to the current block, it would affect the entire chain and break the entire chain.
With these hashing algorithms, you change one, you add a period to the hello world, you add period. That one is going to be totally different. So there's no way to, that's the point, is there's no way to be able to find a pattern. I Googled, like, can I run a machine learning, define pattern analysis on SHA, and it's like, you could maybe take you to the end of the universe, but if you find something, but it's
exactly
made to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's
pattern.
theoretically, computationally possible to do, to kind of reverse or to kind of figure out the source of the algorithm or the hash. However, it would take so many, thousands, millions, and so much computing power. Yeah, exactly. It would take many days, many years, and so much computing power that it's just not possible to do. Now with quantum computing in the future, go ahead.
I said powerful enough that you can trust money on it. So,
yes, exactly. Now, and then the theories, I guess, if quantum computing becomes realistic in the future, I mean, it may be possible to calculate, and break these algorithms. However, we'll have to see that and what is developed to counteract that.
Yeah, I could do a whole episode on quantum computing. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
It blows my mind.
We should do that.
Just like solves any problem and. But anyways,
yep.
Back to chapter 2.
All right. What do we got here? We also have.
We talk about mining a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. So the mining process is essentially a computer or a device that is building the blocks, gathering the transactions, and then hashing all of that information over and over again to gets a hash that is below a certain value, which is the difficulty. I guess that's the best way I could explain it.
Yeah. When you always hear these videos, it's like these miners they do a whole bunch of math and they try to find a solution to the problem. All these essentially what it does is like someone holds a number like from 1 to a trillion, a way bigger number than that, and says, guess what number I have? And the thing goes just, so it's not like it's like thinking math, like it's just it's dumb brute force. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then until it here's a so that's all these things do is they just brute force a whole bunch of different trial and error until one satisfies this whatever the hash has got to look like has so many zeros before.
So many zeros leading it. Yep. Yeah. Which is determined by the difficulty. And
so I always think that people get confused when they hear, oh, it does a whole bunch of miners do a bunch of math. No. All it does is just counts. It adds a nonce, the nonce to the block, which is just 1, 2 didn't work, 3 didn't work, 4 didn't work.
Yep.
My like S7, like 4.3 terahashes per second, 4.3 trillion guesses per second. That blows my mind.
Yeah, and we can provide links to there's a video that kind of shows on a simple
2256 by hand. There's a video
yeah, I actually do want to watch that one. I haven't watched it yet, but there's a video on that you showed. Yeah, that you linked with the blockchain and
so blockchain 101, a visual demo.
Yes,
we'll put that in. That is one of the essentials to learning this stuff. The guy does a great job.
Oh yeah,
just here's the block. We're gonna feed this into that. Here's the next one, and you can play around with it. He's gonna demo. Perfect. But yeah, blockchain 101, a visual demo. We'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, that sounds great. And there's also some examples of what the block hashes look like that I will show when we do screen share here in a few minutes about chapter 3. That shows you the leading zeros of each block and how they differ, depending on how old the block is. Whereas, an older block will have less zeros in the beginning because it was less difficult to mine at that time. Whereas the more recent blocks will have a lot more zeros in their hash, which means, shows that how difficult it was to mine it. And part of this difficulty really is is part of the proof of work that Bitcoin uses. And it basically adds a security to the network because the amount of electricity and the amount of cost that a miner has to incur kind of ensures that, hey, that they are not trying to, attack the system, because the amount of money that they have to put in isn't necessarily worth it. To make a fraudulent or a double spend, it's like almost worth. If you get to a point like it's almost worth it just to take the reward. Exactly.
Like if go back, it's so hard to go farther back and back in the chain that, and what the whole Bitcoin network, I've heard this is the most powerful super net computer. If you thought it was one.
Nope. Lost you for a second there. All right, so it looks like we lost Coin Guy Bry for a moment, which that's fine. We'll give him a chance to join back in. So yeah, what he was basically saying was that the mining power that's put in, the amount of electricity and the amount of computational power that's put in is basically essentially the security of the network. And miners are rewarded for the amount of electricity and amount of computing power that they put in with Bitcoin. Every time they solve or generate a valid block for the blockchain, they are rewarded. Currently 12.5 Bitcoins. So this is why they continue to put the electricity and the computational power into it. So let's just see if we can get Brian back here. Then we'll cover chapter 3. Please hold. Looks like Brian has joined the call. Yep, you're back.
Wait, I got 2 instances running.
Oh, there you go. Brian has left the chat, or the call, so we're good.
Okay, sorry about that. I gotta get it.
Made me talk by myself.
Yeah. So awkward.
It was very awkward. When we watch this back, we're gonna be like, oh, this is where Rob panics. He starts saying words.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's all we are doing. We're just saying words because we like to hear ourselves talk. No, really, we're just trying to get out what's in our head and what we understand of Bitcoin and how this all works. And if we get it wrong, we get it wrong. Tell us.
Yeah.
We'd love to learn.
Basic questions. No, there's no stupid. I am such a believer in there's no stupid questions.
Exactly.
Because the more basic the question just shows, like if you're working in a company, I don't want to digress too much, but like if one of your employees asks a really basic question, you assume they should know. That just shows on your part that you're a bad manager, that you're not being trained. So it's like it really is. Don't hesitate asking any stupid questions, and I'm not going to.
Oh yeah.
I have a channel that we try to answer any kind of basic questions, but
exactly. This is all for people that want
kind of a pet peeve on people that get on people for stupid questions. So
I agree. Same here. We're completely open-minded, and we want to learn ourselves. So
I asked stupid questions when I was young. I mean, but anyways.
You want to get your lower third going, and then we'll talk about if you want. It's up to you.
Take it, Rob.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is to dive into chapter 3, which is the meat of this episode. Really, it's chapter 3 covers downloading the Bitcoin node software, installing it or compiling it if you wish, and then using that to sync the entire blockchain to your machine. And you do this because one, you can participate in the Bitcoin network and provide a node that helps validate blocks, which also kind of what is it called? Contributes to Bitcoin and its distributed nature. Also, if you want to develop applications that interact with the blockchain, you do need a blockchain sync to the machine that you're developing on to test and use as a point for the data that you're going to be pulling out of the blockchain. So we're not going to go into detail on how to download and install this. We can provide links to that, how to install the node. And the syncing process can take a couple of days depending on your connection and CPU power, because it has to go through and verify every transaction and every block since the beginning of Bitcoin.
Start from the beginning.
Exactly.
I just wanted to throw out one thing. If you want to run a node, but you don't, like for me, I felt like I'd give back to get Bitcoin. I wasn't technical at the time. I didn't know how it worked, but I wanted to run a node. Bitseed.com or .org, they'll give you a plug and play. You plug it in your Ethernet cord and plug it into the wall, and you run a node from your house. And you're just adding to the network. The more nodes, the more robust the network becomes. So that's just the simple way of doing it. If you don't want to use your computer's hard drive, because it will take how many 150 gigs?
About 150 plus gigs, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it comes preloaded with some of the blockchain on it. I just throw that out there. Bitseed, we'll put in the link. But
no, that'd be great.
For the dummy proof. So.
And I'm sure you can develop against that as well. I mean, especially if you know what port it's running on and the IP of it, and on your network, you can.
Yeah, you get some options. You can. Yep. How much mempool?
And so that takes us into really just jumping in and just one moment here. Yep. Okay, we're good.
Do you want to go on here, or do you want to end it and then make another one for chapter 3 to get in some code, or like an intro episode, or how long are we running? What's our run time right now?
That's a good question. Let me check that out.
I can't get my thing to load up, my live. Please pause for a quick break.
I didn't even look at the live.
Our sponsors.
You'd think it would show a counter somewhere, but it doesn't even tell you.
I'm trying to open up the video. I want to see.
Let me see.
I don't want to make, because people don't want to. Oh shit, that thing's 50 minutes long. I'm not. They get 2 views. I'm not watching.
Yeah, it's probably close to that. I completely understand. Here we go. It just says live, man.
Okay, yeah. If I click on back on it looks like we're in like about 30 minutes almost.
Okay, we're at 30 minutes. So what do you want to do with that? Because we can edit this, or we may not. Guys might be watching this.
Right. So
yeah.
Pain in the butt. It's up to you.
No, I think it's good. I think we can cut it right here, and then we can
cut it. Let's just start a new one for the next chapter.
Let's go ahead, and we're going to sign off this episode.
Breaking down Bitcoin. You got to move your head a little bit so you can.
I know.
There you go.
There you go.
Breaking down Bitcoin, guys. See you later.
Yep. We'll see you the next time. See ya.